MTN Sports, this is Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
All right, Coach, how are we doing? How are we feeling? We're getting into Week 10 and getting back home to Bozeman this week.
Yeah, great to be back at home this coming Saturday, and certainly coming off that loss, we need to bounce back. Excuse me, learn from the things that didn't go well that past Saturday, and find a way to take a step forward against a good Northern Arizona team.
Yeah, no doubt. This is going to be a tough matchup these next couple of weeks, coming off these two road games. You know, for you personally, coming off a tough, hard-fought loss like this against Idaho, how do you flush this? You know, how do you make sure you don't let this drag into the next week for you personally?
Well, I think you go through it in your mind over and over again. You watch the film more than a few times, and you got to see, okay, what can we do better? What can I do better? And really try to get everybody to view it that way. And you know, on Monday, move forward. And it's really as simple and as complicated as that. But I do think there was things in that game that we all could have done better. There was things we did really well at the same time. And you just go back to work and know that everything that we want to accomplish is still out there in front of us. But you know, it all starts with this next game. What
were some of those plays that you watched over and over again and are thinking about after this one?
Oh, I think there were several of them. You know, our inability to stay on the field in the first half. There's a few plays certainly that led to that. Our inability to get off the field on defense, plays that led to that. I think that's, you know, just the way that game got going through the first quarter and a half is where you really play through it, because you know, beyond that first quarter and a half, I think offensively we did some really good things. Defensively, we were hanging on for dear life, but really playing hard, and you know, credit to Idaho for continuing to go after it and make plays on their end.
Yeah, it was that 20-play drive they had, which did end up turning into a field goal, but I mean, that took 10, almost 11 minutes off the clock. What did you see in some of those plays? I mean, they converted a couple of third downs. What were some of the key situations in that one?
Well, they get a 4th and 2. I think they're just trying to draw us off sides, and if they can't, they'll punt the ball away. And unfortunately, you know, we jumped off sides, and that was a huge play in that sequence. And then, you know, the back and forth, the third downs that they do make, you know, it probably just set the tone a little bit for the way the game was going to unfold. You know, it was going to be a real challenge for our defense. Idaho presented a lot of things that were challenging, and you know, we were up to the task at times, and then at other times we weren't. And that particular drive did, you know, certainly wear on us.
You know, you talked about the offense a little bit, and a lot of that was some of the, you know, not getting some positive yards on those first down plays. What kind of adjustments maybe do you want to make on that, or what did you see from some of your first down offense?
Well, you know, the first three and outs, that's 9 plays. You know, I think there was a good intention to get the ground game going, but there was things from the read, the RPO game that pulled us out of the running back runs. You know, and we got to make the right reads, and if we do throw the football on those, we got to make the play on the other end. It just didn't happen. We had one downfield pass that's you know, 50-50 ball that we don't make. So, you know, the result of those 3 drives was hardly anything, obviously, but at least the resolve was, okay, let's stick with it. Let's start making some plays. We did that before the half. Didn't get any points on the board, but ultimately I think we started moving forward. And then, you know, after halftime, had quite a bit of success in those 3 drives that we had leading in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, hey, only the 4th drive of the game, and you guys did kind of get it going. Tommy really has performed well in some of those 2-minute drills, got that ball down the field, and, you know, had an opportunity for a touchdown there. Taco Dollar unable to make that catch, but the throw by Tommy in that moment, rolling out to his right, kind of off one foot, that looked like one of his most beautiful throws of the year.
Yeah, excellent play. I think one of those deals where he typically might take off and run, but did a great job of keeping his eyes downfield. Taco did a great job of separating. We just didn't connect, and then unfortunately we didn't get any points that drive. And I think we continued to move on from situations throughout the game. You know, I think you know, a lesser team probably folds just with the lack of success that we had, but our team stayed after it and, you know, fought till the bitter end. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah, a couple of drops there for Taco in this game. He had that. He had the screen pass. Did you feel like that was just some rust and not really playing and getting out there until week 9?
Hard to say. You know, he's a really strong competitor. I know he wanted to get back out there, but yeah, it had been a long time since he'd, you know, been in a game-like situation. You know, so you don't know. I think we're going to certainly trust him moving forward. He did a good job catching catching the ball on the other end of the punt game. So, that's the way it goes sometimes, and we'll look forward to Taco continuing to be a really shining star for us.
Even with all of this and all these hurdles, you guys were still able to take a lead with about 8 minutes to go in this game. Julius Davis was able to finally get going once he got a few touches there, and you guys got into a rhythm. That drive that turned into his touchdown, he opened that drive with an 11-yard rush, a 17-yard rush. Seemed like he was a real beast down the stretch in this game.
Yeah, it's obviously something that we wish had taken hold sooner, our ability to run the football with the running backs, but it certainly did. At an opportune time there, Julius has again proved to be a playmaker for us, and intense competitor, and that's something that we'll continue to need as this season goes along.
All right, we're going to step aside, but still plenty more to get to. We've got another edition of the Players Lounge coming up, and later, Grace Lawrence sits down with wide receiver Ty McCullough on the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Back on the Bobcat Insider, it's time now for another cut from the Players Lounge with Josh Perkins talking to the tight end group.
I was telling Mike, too, I was at the 84 semifinal game against Rhode Island, sat in the end zone. It was packed.
You was there?
I was there, yeah. Sat in the end zone right where, what's his name, took it back, the interception. Can't remember his name either now. I'm blanking. Too many concussions. Yeah. He took it back, and I was sitting right there, and they piled in the snowbank. Yeah. And then, 2 years ago, South Dakota State.
Oh, yeah.
And that thing was crazy.
Yeah, that gave me chills a little bit.
It does. I mean, it makes the hair stand up on my arm, but it's just you're kind of jealous of that. But as far as the brotherhood with your teammates, I mean, Scott, Harry, Wilkins, they call us the Three Amigos, all the tight ends, and so that stuff never dies. Like you never forget the blood, the sweat, the tears, all that stuff. That stuff goes on with everybody. But the crowd and what you guys got going now, it's pretty sweet.
So let's get into that rivalry game, that Cat Grizz. So was that always part of your life? Was you always a Cat? What was your side growing up?
Being up in Sunburst, it was like so far away from Bozeman, and my family wasn't like really too big into like college sports and whatnot. And so I honestly didn't ever I never watched a Cat Grizz game. I didn't.
Because you was a basketball player anyway.
Yeah, I like playing basketball, and so I honestly didn't really know the significance of it.
So how was your first experience of it? When you got here.
Yeah, in 17 when I came here on my first official visit, first ever college game, and it was Cat Grizz when we won here, and that was when I definitely found out the significance and the importance of how big that game is, because that stadium was rocking, and from there on it was I want to play in this game.
So we had a coach up in Chugiak, Coach Tom Huffer. He's actually in the Grizz Hall of Fame because he played quarterback a while ago, and then we had a running back, Johanse Humphrey, who went to the Grizz too.
Yeah, we played against him.
Yeah, and then
he was Alaska.
He went to Chugiak, same high school.
He's your brother though, right?
Yeah, and then. So, they were trying to get me to go to the Grizz, and then I actually ended up going to camp there, and hey, good for me though. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go over there. Yeah.
Well, Coach, cool seeing those guys talk about the brotherhood and, of course, the environment at Cat Grizz. And, we've heard from a lot of guys about coming here on their recruiting visits and either going to a Cat Grizz game or even a Gold Rush game and seeing that environment. What do you see when a high school kid comes up here and they get kind of blasted away by that environment for the first time?
Well, our game day atmosphere is what a kid's looking for. You want to be in a stadium that has electricity, that has the fan support that we have, and then obviously the play on the field that is one that's winning ball games. So I think one of our greatest selling points is those kids coming, whether it's an in-state guy coming to an unofficial visit or an out-of-state guy that really doesn't maybe know what it's like coming on an official visit, and whether it's Gold Rush, Cat Grizz, and anything in between, our environment stands up, and it's it's something that guys want to be part of.
Well, it's a lot of fun, and we get another edition of that coming up this weekend against NAU, and we'll get into this matchup with the Lumberjacks in just a bit, and of course we'll close the book on this Idaho game before we hear from Ty McCullough on the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Back on the Bobcat Insider talking about this ball game at Idaho, and Coach Tommy Mellott threw the heck out of the football in this game. Was this one of his best passing games in your eyes?
Well, I think the 2-minute drives in particular. That was 20 of our 47 plays in this game, and I think I think those two drives when we needed to move the ball, obviously the one before the half, we needed a spark, and he provided it with his legs initially, and then through the air, and then I think down the stretch to put us in position to be able to be in scoring position at the very least. I thought he did a good job. So it's certainly another performance in the passing game to build upon as we attempt to continue to be a more balanced team, and I think Tommy in his confidence with his receivers continues to grow.
Right. I mean, that let's go to that last drive of the game, setting up the field goal opportunity for Brendan Hall down by 3. But, there was one situation in there where he completed 4 consecutive passes for 4 first downs to 3 different receivers. I mean, it seemed like he was just putting the ball right on the money, and those receivers stood up. I mean, the pass catching ability right now seems pretty strong. Yeah,
and those are opportunities that you're taking what the defense gives you. In that 2-minute drive, typically it's a little bit bend but don't break, so Tommy knew where to go with the ball to advance the ball down the field, and we did that. And ultimately for ourselves, we were first and 10 at the 18-19, so it's unfortunate we didn't finish that off, but we put ourselves in position, and the next time we get that opportunity, we got to find a way to finish it off.
Right. Yeah, you guys were down to the 18-yard line, so at that point it would have been the 35-yard field goal attempt, a shot to Cleveland Thomas Jr. to the end zone, the 8-yard sack, which hurt, of course, and then they brought that all-out blitz, and Tommy kind of had to just get rid of it on that third down play. What did you see from that sequence of plays?
Well, the 3-play sequence, the first down, is a play that was a run pass, and the look created a pass, and we didn't complete it. And, there's a couple goal balls in that whole drive that if you complete those, you're able to take that lead, because those are balls that would go into the end zone. The second down sack, that's really the unfortunate play. We couldn't afford to go backwards in that situation. It was a 4-man rush. We weren't outnumbered at that point in time. We got to be able to protect or get the ball off. And on third down, when they brought the all-out blitz, find a place where at least one of our guys can make a 50-50 play on the ball. And we didn't do that, and obviously led to the failed field goal attempt. And all things to learn from. I think anytime you lose a game, you got to be able to look at things that what can you do better the next time you're in those opportunities, you're presenting those opportunities, and certainly the end of the game piece, we've got to find a way to finish.
Well, let's talk about Brendan Hall a little bit here, because he's a major portion of this team. And even in this game, especially punting the football, there were some big punts. He had the 60-yard punt with a 6-yard return, got them pinned down inside their own 20-yard line twice, once at the 5. So the punting game, it seems like he's really excelled so far.
Yeah, Brendan the punter is really doing well. And our net punt right now, it continues to climb. We have 48 net punt in that game, and that's it's him punting the ball. It's our guys covering because of the hang time he's getting, and then his ability to place that ball inside the 10 this year has been phenomenal. He's kicked off tremendously well at the same time, and really eliminated most teams' kick return games. So we've asked him to do a lot of tasks. Obviously, he's done well at a couple of the field goal side of things. We haven't been as successful as we need to be, and we'll continue to address that. And at the same time, really appreciate the things that Brendan has done well for us this year.
So looking at the field goal kicking for him, how are you continuing to evaluate that? After this game, you said you wanted to go back to the drawing board and figure out what that meant. So.
Yeah, I think you go through this week, and we have Casey Kotzman on the team who's kicked a couple field goals, a few extra points this season. I think you look at them both and say, okay, moving forward, what's going to give us the best chance? What's going to give Brendan the most chance to be successful in all the things we're asking him to do, and make a decision, for this team, what's best for this team moving forward.
So ultimately, in this game, Idaho made some really good plays, including their game-winning touchdown. That pass by Giovanni McCoy was an excellent pass. Hayden Hatton made a great catch. Rylan Ort was maybe a fingertip away from getting a finger on that ball. What did you see from your perspective on the coverage of that game-winning touchdown?
Well, it was a 3rd and long. We were maybe a little bit too aggressive at the line of scrimmage, allowing McCoy to want to go after Hatton. If we maybe give a little bit more of an apparent 2-over-1 look, they might go in a different direction. But we didn't, and John was in pretty good coverage, honestly, and Rylan was inches away, and it required a perfect throw, honestly, and it was a perfect throw at that situation, and great concentration on Hatton's end to make the play. So, you go hats off to them. You can't change the way we played it, and you move forward. That's all we can do.
Well, moving forward, it's NAU up next, and like you said, every goal is still on the table. You win out, you're still getting a share of the Big Sky Championship at worst. And the next task is this NAU team. And on that defensive side, you talked a little bit about what they're doing on that defensive line. Eloy Coetti is their all-time leading rusher. He's most sacks in program history. What are some of the things they do to be creative in how they move that defensive line?
Well, line up a lot of different ways, and they have a lot of size. Smallest guy they play in the front is 250, and so they got a lot of size. Those matchups in the run game are unusual, sometimes are just different, different angles. They twist them, they move them, they slant them, and just present a lot of different looks through the course of the game. That size component beyond the moving around is probably what you look at as the immediate challenge. Handling guys as big as they are, put ourselves in position to, hopefully wear on them a little bit. That's a real challenge, and our guys have to be up for it up front.
On the offensive side for them, they're bringing back a bunch of their same wide receivers, new quarterbacks. They've been kind of shifting in that regard, and those wide receivers had a big game last year with Montana State, winning a close, tight contest. But how different are they this year compared to last year?
Well, I think the quarterback situation is quite a bit different. I think when we cut Martinez last year, he was playing as well as anybody in our league, and he had a wonderful day on their end against us. Those two receivers that were his primary targets are both back. They've played 3 quarterbacks through the course of the season. In this past game, they made the switch at halftime to go with Flores, more of a running quarterback, but certainly capable thrower. So we'll have to see what their next step is. Be ready for both guys. It seems like they want to run the ball a little bit more this particular year than they maybe were last year, but have the ability to be explosive. I know that, and we caught that firsthand last year, and we can't allow that to happen again.
Well, here we go. Get back in front of some home cooking. You guys got to be excited to get in front of these home fans this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be great to be back home. It seems like it's been a while now. It's been a few weeks, obviously, and our crowd charges us up, and we want to be able to play for them and play for ourselves as much as anything and get back on track.
All right, well, here we go. Only 2 more regular season home games on tap. The next is against Northern Arizona at home for the 1 o'clock kickoff this Saturday. All right, we're taking a break. Ty McCullough on the other side with Grace Lawrence. He's got great hands to catch the football, but how does he use those as a scribe? We'll find out about that next on the Bobcat Insider.
Welcome back to Bobcat Insider, sponsored by First Interstate Bank.
Here's the snap as Cal Poly looks to punt. The left-footed kick is an end-over-end line drive kick at the 35-yard line. It's caught by McCullough. He's on his move to his left, turns upfield to hash mark. McCullough down the field, angling left to the numbers, stiff arms a man. Ty McCullough down the left sideline to 20. McCullough at the 10, 5, touchdown, Bobcat!
The 65-yard punt return. What were you seeing on the field?
I was upset because I just fumbled on the first possession of the game. I was like, wow, how did I do that? It was just the jitters of being back fully for the first time. So I said the next time I get the ball, I'm literally going to score. So I didn't really think about anything else but running to the end zone.
You provide a spark to this offense. That's what I've seen. How do you describe your game?
On the outside the perimeter, we're good at blocking. Like no matter what, we're gonna block the perimeter very well. And whenever we need that shot play down the field, we can provide that as well this year. So I think we're trying to revolutionize this pass game here. And we just got to take it step by step every day, every practice, and every game.
All these athletes have their why. What's yours?
My mom, she's done everything for me. So, having her being able to come to the games and watch me it means a lot to me. She was able to come to Sac State, and it was great.
Chambers rolling out to his left, takes a shot to the end zone. That is caught by Ty McCullough, and it's a touchdown. Montana State from 21 yards out.
Being able to step up in that moment for the team was really important for me to establish myself because I really hadn't been able to show anyone what I could do up until the last couple of games, so it felt really good.
Your mom saw you catch that touchdown then in person. How cool was that?
Yeah, she said she couldn't stop screaming, so it was great.
I heard Bobcat Nation was louder than the Sac State fans that game.
We were. I was surprised. She was surprised as well. She's like, there's so many people here. What the hell? I was like, yeah, it's crazy.
How has it been working with Sean and Tommy?
When Tommy was out, Sean really stepped up, and like he always does. He's a really good guy, really good quarterback, really good arm. Everybody thinks he's going to run the ball all the time, but he can really throw it too. So he's really deceptive with just the way he plays. Tommy, he's just really smart. He knows everything, where everything's supposed to go, and he's always going to make the right play. So.
What do you guys still have to prove?
Everything. We're still going after it all. It doesn't matter. We lost to Idaho. That's fine. we're gonna come back and people are gonna see it.
You came here because you wanted a winning culture. What's the ceiling for this team this season?
Ceiling as high as we put it. Honestly, we're our worst enemies at this point, and we all know that. So as long as we can break through that ceiling, we'll be fine.
Who's Ty McCullough off the field?
I write poems, short stories, pretty much anything, just whatever's on my mind. That's also decompressing, just like video games. So it just helps me get away from, the strains of being a college athlete.